comparison of PCM, DPCM, and delta modulation. We know that under pulse modulation method, PCM is very important method of modulation that is used to convert analog signal into digital signal. So the signal which is present in the form of pulses, the encoding is applied to those pulses. And why do we call it as pulse modulation? Because whatever is the pulse strength, according to the pulse strength, as per the pulse strength, we get the encoded number of bits. And the output is the stream of bits. And DPCM, delta modulation, are extension to PCM. So this lecture will present a comparison among all these three important modulation methods: PCM, DPCM, and delta modulation. So we will see overview briefly about all modulation methods, and then we'll have comparative analysis of these methods. Though we have covered PCM, DPCM, and DM, which is delta modulation, in detail in previous lectures, but the purpose of this lecture is to compare all these modulation methods. So as we know that PCM produces a series of numbers or series of digits, which we call as digital signals, which we also call as stream of bits. Each one of these bits represent the approximate amplitude of signal, approximate amplitude of the sample. And this is why we call it as pulse code modulation. That whatever is the sample strength, whatever is the amplitude of sample, accordingly the number of encoded bits are used, or the value of the bit stream is used to encode that particular sample. The message signal is represented by a sequence of coded pulses. So if you can see this block diagram, which consists of three major stages: sampling, quantizing, and encoding, which are the three essential processes involved in PCM. The analog signal which we want to modulate, or better to say, we want to encode, is subjected to sampling, where we get the sampled output, and sampled output is actually PAM output, that is pulse amplitude modulated output, where we can clearly see that the pulses are present and the amplitude of these pulses follows the amplitude of or instantaneous value of modulating signal. This sampled output, or the PAM output, is then sent to quantizing process, where some rounding off, some quantization, some approximation process is applied so as to obtain the approximated signal, which may suitably, appropriately encoded. So an efficient encoding, a simplified encoding, easier encoding can easily be applied to the approximated output, and this is why we quantize the signal, so that all the samples are brought at certain levels, so that those levels can be compared relatively with the bit numbering assignments. And then it goes to encoding, where we get the output as the stream of bits. This is one example where you can see again that the blue colored signal is an analog signal which we want to encode. The green colored signal is an approximated signal, which is quantized signal. And between these two, there is a signal which is in terms of samples. And we have not shown here the samples, rather we have displayed here the approximated signal, which is green colored signal here. And then there are 8 quantization levels. And based on 8 quantization levels, there are 8 steps, and individual duration or width of one step is called as step size. And there are 8 steps, and therefore each sample will be encoded into 3 bits. 2 to the power 3 is 8. So if you can see the top 2 samples, so what is nearer, both the samples are nearer to the 6. And if you assign from 0 to 7, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1 to 1, 1, 1, you will find 6 as 1, 1, 0. And therefore, you can see here corresponding to these 2 samples, you are getting 1, 1, 0 and 1, 1, 0. So this is how encoding mechanism works, encoding operates. This is one more example where we can see that the approximated signal is looking much better, much nearer to the accurate, that is exact signal. So the quantization error, or we can say the error, the difference between the approximated and the actual signal is very less, but at the expense of more number of steps you can see here. So it's not easy to increase more number of steps. When we increase more number of steps, of course, the step size duration becomes less, but for that, you have to increase number of bits required to encode each particular step, each particular sample. And therefore, you can see that there are 2 things which we can observe. More number of samples when step size is less, number 1. Number 2, each step requires more number of bits. So overall, the number of bits required, overall the bandwidth required in PCM is very high. And we can also find that sometimes there are 2 samples which are adjacent samples, and there is very slight difference between the 2 samples. And we know that when we encode both the samples, the digital stream is almost same. But what do? Unnecessarily, both the pulses are quantized and encoded. So there is some amount of data redundancy which is involved in PCM, and this problem is addressed by the next modulation method called as DPCM. But before we go to DPCM, let us see the block diagram of PCM. This is a block diagram of PCM where an analog signal that has to be encoded goes to LPF, which is then LPF allows the desired signals which we really want to encode. We will not allow the neighboring signals which are beyond the range of actual signal to be encoded. Then it goes to sampler, as we have seen that what does sampling do. Sampler converts analog signal into discrete. The discrete signal is in the form of pulses, a sampled output, which we also call as PAM output. It goes to quantizer, where the quantized output, the approximated signal, is generated, and then encoding mechanism is applied to the quantized output. Then the signal is finally converted into stream of bits, and that stream of bits are communicated through or via a channel. But we also know that during the transmission via channel is the dominant factor causing interference, loss of signal, and so many other factors which degrade the signal quality, that is signal information loss. And therefore, in between there are a number of regenerative repeaters which are used in order to strengthen up, in order to boost up, in order to compensate, in order to recover the signal loss which occurs due to the channel. And then finally, while receiving, it is received by decoder, where the signal is decoded and then converted into the pulses. And then that is, once we receive in the form of pulses, then it is passed to reconstruction filter, where on the basis of those pulses, we try to make the accurate signal, accurate analog signal. Okay, and that accurate analog signal is delivered to the destination wherever we want to, deliver the output as the message signal. So this is one, simplified form of PCM method, where we can see that analog signal goes to sampling. This block diagram completely is called as PCM encoding, where sampling converts signal into PAM. It goes to quantizing, where signal is quantized, then it is encoded, and we get the signal in the form of ones and zeros. Ones and zeros, and the signals are streams of bits called as digital signal. So this is about your PCM. This is about PCM signal. Next is DPCM. DPCM. This technique samples the analog signal and then quantizes the difference between sampled value and its predicted value, then encodes the signal to form a digital value. This is the main difference. We have studied in detail about DPCM. Rather than quantizing and encoding all the samples as we do in PCM, what do we do? The difference between the two adjacent samples, the difference is quantized and then encoded rather than quantizing all the samples and the pulses. Why can we do it? That's very important, because when we check the all the samples, and this is very important, that when the sampling rate is very high, there will be more number of samples. And when you check, when you compare the two neighboring samples, the change in the strength of the signal, two samples, is not very much. It's very slight, it's very small. The difference is very less. So rather than sending two higher amplitude samples, because more, a number of bits will be required in order to encode all those samples. So what do? We just take the difference between the two samples, and then that difference is quantized and encoded. The samples of signal are highly correlated, as I told you. This is why we can do it with each other in PCM, and therefore value from present sample to the next sample does not differ by a large amount. It differs by a small amount. So the difference is therefore taken between the present sample and the next sample. The adjacent samples of the signal carry the same information with a small difference. When these samples are encoded by standard PCM, the resulting encoding signal contains some redundant information bits. So the data redundancy, the bit redundancy problem which is involved in PCM is addressed in the DPCM. This is what I was trying to tell you, that if you see the neighboring samples, the equivalent codes are almost same, because the information from one sample to adjacent sample is not changing very much. So that's the meaning of adjacent samples and the correlation. This is a simplified block diagram of DCM transmitter, and this is receiver. So DCM transmitter, if you can check the samples which are coming as the input sample, it goes to comparator first. The comparator requires at least two things: one, the current sample, and second, the previous sample. The first of all, there will be only one sample, so there is no point, So what will happen? No error signal will be generated. So based on the quantized difference in the comparator, again the predictor will predict, and it will retain the same value. The next time the next pulse will come, the next pulse will be compared with the predicted value, which is approximately stored as the previous value. So the difference will be now quantized. Comparator will output difference as well as sum, but we are interested in difference terms. So the difference term will be quantized and then encoded, and that error signal also goes to comparator again, so that the same amount of signal which corresponds to the error signal can again be generated for further comparison. Further means when the next sample is again coming, we need the previously transmitted pulse. And for that, predictor filter is used. So in the DCM transmitter, if we can see, there are important blocks called as comparator, quantizer, encoder, and prediction filter. The prediction filter generates the approximated signal that corresponds to the error between the two samples, that is between the two adjacent samples. And this is the DPCM receiver. I'm sorry, where the sequence is entered to quantizer again, where the signal will be quantized, but the same mechanism is followed, where we try to reconstruct the output, right, by comparison, and then we again use the comparator, and then finally pass that output through low pass filter where the reconstructed signal is delivered to the output. So that is about DPCM. The next one is delta modulation. The sampling rate in delta modulation, what is peculiar thing is the the sampling rate is very high. Oversample data is, whenever there is a oversample data, delta modulation is suitable. In oversample data, the sampling rate is very high, so there are more and more number of samples. So it's much larger than the Nyquist rate also. Quantization design is simple. Input sequence is much higher than the Nyquist rate. We know that sampling is always done at greater than Nyquist rate. Nyquist rate is double of maximum frequency of analog signal or the message signal. So there is no point that it is greater. It is much larger because the sampling rate is very high. The data is oversampled. So what is peculiar thing in delta modulation? Oversampled data, the step size will be very small. Obviously, if there are more number of samples, the spacing between the two samples will be less, and accordingly, the step size needs to be very, very small. So, oversampled data is input, is taken as the input, and that makes full use of signal correlation, as we have studied, as we have seen in the DPCM. So, delta modulation is again simplified form of DPCM. In DPCM, what happens? All the difference terms are quantized and encoded. Delta modulation does the same way. But what is the difference? In DPCM, the difference terms are encoded into some suitable number of bits, whereas in delta modulation, all the difference terms will be only encoded into only one bit. So how does it work? It checks the previous sample with the next sample. Now we find the difference, whether it is higher or lesser, more or less. If it is more, the difference will be positive. If it is less, the difference will be negative. So there are two outputs generally for the difference term. Generally for the change term, in mathematics we use del operator, difference, delta. So therefore plus del and minus del, plus del, plus 1, minus del, minus 1, respectively 1 and 0. And therefore the term is used here in DM as del, that is delta modulation. The bit rate can be decided by the user at any intended rate, by the user, specified by the user. The delta modulation can be accordingly designed, and we can achieve that much bit rate. So the delta modulation is simplified form of DPCM, also viewed as 1 bit DPCM. It's a DPCM only, but the output is always 1 bit, either 1 or 0, 1 or 0. As the sampling interval is reduced, the signal correlation is also, it improves. See what happens when the sampling rate is high. What will happen when we increase sampling rate? Sampling frequency is high. It means the spacing between the two samples, the interval between, because time period will reduce, the sampling time will reduce. So the interval between the two samples is very less. So almost, there are a lot of samples. There are hundreds of samples which are very near, and the interval is very less. So if you compare one sample with the incoming sample, the change will not be much because the sampling interval is so less. This is why they are highly correlated, and the correlation capability is exploited in the method called as DPCM and delta modulation. But in delta modulation, sampling rate is very high, interval becomes very low, correlation is very high, and the encoding is always done only in terms of 1 bit. That's the big difference in delta modulation. This is block diagram of delta modulation, where analog signal is sent to comparator, where we get the previous one. So there is a delay unit. It's actually a digital domain, digital implementation of block diagram. Say when we consider a Z transform, how does Z transform work? Generally, Z transform is used in a discrete time signal processing. So when we write a signal, when we send signal to an operator Z to the power minus 1, the signal is delayed. Z inverse, Z transform operator, Z minus 1, Z to the power minus. So therefore, that delay unit, if we bring or convert into Z transform domain, here we will write z to the power minus 1. And this is a staircase marker that will, with the help of comparator output, try to reconstruct the previous sample with the help of delay unit as well. And then again it will be compared repeatedly again and again, and then until the analog signal, all the samples are encoded, all the samples are over. And finally, the output is the stream of bits, that is the digital output, digital beat pattern. This is another block diagram. That's what I was telling in the previous diagram, that the input which is coming in the form of samples, we write the discrete signal generally as x and ts, where ts is the sampling interval. So x and ts goes to the mixer, and then previous sample, you look here, approximated previous sample x cap and ts, and it's compared with the incoming sample, and therefore the error is generated. That error goes to 1-bit quantizer, and then quantized error signal is generated. It is again sent to delay unit, and again we bring the signal which was previously generated here, so that roughly we'll try to approximate the previous signal, and then previous signal will be again compared with the next incoming sample, and then process repeats, process keeps on going, and until all the samples in analog signal are encoded. So it's 1-bit quantizer. The main element here in DM is 1-bit quantizer. There is a delay unit, and there are 2 mixers or 2 summers, you can say. All right, so this is a demodulator because there is a concept of delay, so that synchronization has to be maintained so that properly the signal can be properly reconstructed. Then it is passed to LPF so that our original band of signal, our original band of frequencies is recovered, and therefore we pass through the LPF, and this is the demodulated output, which is actually the message signal approximately that was communicated. So let's compare now all these modulation methods. So in comparison, let's begin with PCM and DPCM. So in PCM, you have seen that there is no feedback. There was direct flow. Analog signal goes to sampling, goes to quantizing process, then encoding. What do we mean by feedback? Feedback is a process in which some part of output is again fed back to the input. So there will be always a loop, right? So was there any loop? Is there any loop in PCM? No. So feedback does not exist. It's not there in PCM. Whereas in DPCM, you have seen there is a feedback. We use the comparator, then we quantize the difference, and then error signal corresponds to again approximated signal using the predictor loop. So there is a feedback used in the DPCM. The SNR value in PCM is good. SNR is good, but in DPCM it's not good, but not bad also. It's a moderate value. SNR is not worse here, but why SNR is good in PCM and why it's not good in DPCM is a very important thing which we need to understand. Why? Because in PCM, we are encoding all the samples. All the samples are encoded. There is no loss of signal. We are not approximating anything. Of course, there is an expense involved. There is a sacrifice involved. And what is that sacrifice? Data redundancy. Bit redundancy is the cost at which bit SNR is achieved. But in DPCM, what do we do? Rather than quantizing and encoding all the samples, we do quantize and do encode the difference between the consecutive samples. It means there is some approximation. So quantization itself has introduced the approximation, but before quantization, we are re-approximating the signal. So there are 2 approximation processes which are involved. So therefore, that could incur some loss of signal, and SNR is therefore less than that of PCM. PCM is less efficient than DPCM. DPCM is more efficient than PCM, especially See, in terms of efficiency, we always, bother about improved bit rate, lesser bandwidth, especially bandwidth utilization. Bandwidth saving is there in DPCM. That's what we are calling. It's better or more efficient. It needs higher bandwidth. I've already told you, and it requires lesser bandwidth. In DPCM, the bandwidth required is less. In DPCM, all the samples are not encoded. The sample strength, amplitudes which are even higher, but there is one more higher amplitude. So what will happen? You will encode both. So how many bits will be required for this certain number of bits, for this certain number of bits? Now let us take the difference. The difference is this much only. So for difference, correspondingly, fewer number of bits, lesser number of bits will be required. So overall, instead of quantizing and encoding all the samples individually, when we encode the difference between the two corresponding or two consecutive or two adjacent samples, the number of bits required to encode significantly is reduced. And this is why overall the total number of bits required, per sample or all the samples will be less, and therefore we say that lesser bandwidth is required in DPCM as compared to PCM. In PCM, the complexity is little high as compared to DPCM, whereas in DPCM you have seen that there are simple blocks called as quantizer, and then comparator, and then predictor. That's all. Quantizer, comparator, and predictor are the three main blocks which are used rather than using more number of stages. More bits are transmitted per sample in the PCM, whereas in DPCM less bits are transmitted per sample, and this is actually related with the bandwidth. More bits are transmitted per sample, therefore the bandwidth required is more in PCM, whereas in DPCM bandwidth required is less. Let's compare PCM and DM, that is pulse code modulation and delta modulation. In PCM, feedback does not exist in transmitter or receiver block. In delta modulation, feedback exists at both. Because see, PCM encoding and decoding or transmitter and receiver. Similarly, delta modulation also have encoding and decoding process. Better to say transmitter and receiver. So at both transmitter and receiver, the loop is existing. The feedback exists. Feedback is present. But in PCM, there is no loop exist. Please understand, whenever in a control system or signal processing, we talk about closed loop system and open loop system. Closed loop system will always have feedback, whereas open loop system will never have feedback. So whenever we compare that which will produce more efficient, more accurate, better accuracy, more accurate output, I mean, that's the general theory I'm talking about. So in closed loop system, the output is always stable. What is important is stable. The signal strength may not be very high because there are two types of feedbacks involved, positive and negative. So in negative feedback especially, the loss is there. Because see, in delta modulation, what's happening? You are in fact giving the feedback component as an input to the comparator, where we are not adding, we are subtracting. So we can comparatively say it's a negative feedback, it's not positive feedback. And in negative feedback, you know that the gain is reduced. But what is the benefit of negative feedback? More stable output is obtained. Can we apply the same interpretation analysis here? Of course. We have a loop, and DM therefore provides efficient and stable output. But of course, bandwidth saving is there. But when you compare in terms of SNR, because there is some more loss, so SNR is less as compared to PCM. It's very less. In fact, it's even lesser than the DPCM. PCM has SNR lesser than PCM, DPCM even lesser than DPCM, delta modulation. In PCM, samples utilize 4, 8 or 16 bits per sample. We utilize these number of bits. Whereas in delta modulation, that's a big difference. For all these samples, per sample in the encoding, only one bit is needed. Whereas in pulse code modulation, it may be 4 bits, it may be 8 bits, it may be 16 bits, and so on. It may be 6 bits. It's not like that it will be 4, 6, or it depends on number of steps. It depends on step size. If number of steps is 32, so what will happen? 32, no, 64. So it will be 2 to the power 6, and therefore each sample will require 6 bits for encoding. PCM requires high transmission bandwidth, whereas the lowest bandwidth, when we compare PCM, DPCM and delta modulation, lowest bandwidth is needed required in delta modulation. PCM more complex, DM is simple, good SNR is there in PCM. Delta modulation has a lesser SNR. I have explained in detail. PCM is costly, DM is not that much costly. PCM, see, it's a bandwidth efficient. So when we compare in terms of bandwidth utilization, bandwidth efficiency, bandwidth usage, so it's not that much expensive as we compare with PCM, because we know that bandwidth is the most expensive factor in communication system and serial process. So in PCM, bandwidth is very high as compared to delta modulation. So when you compare the cost of bandwidth which we spend in PCM, that cost is very high. So in comparison with that, delta modulation is cheaper. It does not, make the difference only in terms of circuit or complexity design at the transmitter or receiver. Rather, it is also associated with the bandwidth required. Bandwidth required in delta modulation is very less, and that could require lesser cost. PCM is used in video telephony and audio telephony, voice communication, video communication, because there we want, especially with video, so that the streaming can be better and the better quality of video can be delivered. The audio also, audio signals, we want the good quality of speech signal, voice signals, and therefore it's used in these things. Delta modulation is used in speeches, voice signal, as well as images. And what is interesting thing in delta modulation, that it is used in compression of signal. Compression, when we are interested to compress, when do we want to compress? We want to save the data. We want to save bandwidth. We want to save the total space required. Because let's take one example, telemedicine, where in the diagnosis center, rather the radiography center, suppose the ECG signals are recorded. The ECG signals are recorded, but the physicians are limited. So one of the physicians who is there at the remote place, these images, the medical images, can be sent, can be transmitted to that person, physician who is sitting at remote or far place, can analyze those images and can diagnose and can prescribe accordingly to the patient whose medical image was communicated. So when we do so, the quality images, especially with reduced data, data storage, it plays important role, because especially diagnosis time is very important. When we send and the data transmission takes a lot of time, so the viewing time, the transmission time, again the reverting time would take so much, and therefore the diagnosis process would hamper in terms of the time complexity. The next comparison is, we have compared PCM with DPCM, DM with PCM. The next comparison and the last comparison is delta modulation with DPCM. So delta modulation, poor SNR, DPCM, fair SNR. See, in delta modulation, DPCM also SNR is less as compared to PCM, but when we compare with delta modulation, is slightly better, slightly bigger, and therefore fair value. Means it's okay. It's not poor. It's not under poor category. It's because still the difference is encoded into certain number of bits. Those bits may be 4, 6, whatever. But in delta modulation, we always encode all the bits in only one bit. So of course that approximation is becoming more intense, more extensive, and that causes some loss of signal strength. It requires lowest bandwidth, that is delta modulation, whereas in DPCM the bandwidth required is lesser than PCM but more than delta modulation. Step size is fixed in delta modulation. In DPCM the number of levels are fixed, less efficient than DPCM, more efficient than delta modulation the DPCM is. And a very efficient mechanism or the method is PCM. Only one bit is used per sample, already discussed. Only one bit is used, whereas in DPCM more than one but less than PCM. But there are number of bits which are required in order to encode, and these number of bits are lesser than PCM, but more than delta modulation. Slope overload distortion and granular noise. Both are the difficulties which are there, which can be observed in both delta modulation as well as DPCM. Delta modulation is used in speeches and images, whereas the delta DPCM is used in videos as well as speeches, and both are used for compression. Both can be used for compression because in both the schemes we save bandwidth, we save the data space which is required, the number of bits which are required to be transmitted, that saving is there. So we can summarize the lecture now. This lecture is about a comparative analysis, a comparison of pulse code modulation, differential pulse code modulation, and delta modulation. We know that all these three modulations methods are the examples of pulse modulation, but unlike other pulse modulation like PPM, PWM, PAM, this modulation, pulse modulation, aims to convert analog signal into digital. So the analog signal is encoded as the stream of bits. So in PCM, we use three important stages: sampling, quantization, and encoding. Sampling converts signal into PAM, approximated by quantization, encoded by encoder, and signal is converted into the stream of bits. In PCM, there is one difficulty involved that is related with data redundancy, because we encode all the samples sometimes, and in many times we observe that the neighboring samples do not have much difference, and correspondingly the streams, the bits, the code will be similar, but we encode again and again all the samples, and that difficulty is addressed in DPCM. So rather than quantizing and encoding all the samples, we quantize and encode only difference between the neighboring samples, and this is why we reduce the number of bits which are transmitted in DPCM. In DPCM, there is a mechanism to check always the next sample and previous sample, so there will be a feedback loop. There will be a predictor that will generate a approximated previous sample, which will be compared with the next incoming sample in the loop manner or repetitive manner until all the samples are over. And even extended form of DPCM is delta modulation, where all the difference between the adjacent samples, the consecutive samples, are encoded only one bit into one bit, and therefore minimum bandwidth is required in delta modulation, and the bandwidth requirement is there in DPCM and delta modulation, and this is the main reason why DPCM and delta modulation are used in image and speech compression related applications as well, whereas PCM is mainly used in speech and telephony, where we do not intend to save bandwidth, we do not intend to compress the data, but wherever we intend to compress the data and transmit over the channel, there we go for DPCM and delta modulation. So thank you. That's all for this lecture.